All right. Hello, everybody. This is the first official episode live on this channel.
I think I lost you, bud. Where are you?
Good.
There you go. I hear you.
I'm here. It's the first official day of being on this channel full time. So we are here
Every day from now on. This is the place.
every day. This is it. I just applied for the monetization thing today, so I think in like a couple days we should be approved. And
There's a massive delay on your voice. Yeah, to your. A massive.
Really, it's that bad?
Yeah, it's like bad.
Okay, I'm gonna change the Wi-Fi. Talk about something.
That Wi-Fi. Hello, hello, hello. Check, check. 1, 2. Who was first today? Who posted first? Heinze Ketchup coming in first. Enphase and BTZ are good topics. We kind of go back and forth. I could talk about Bitcoin all day, and I feel like we talk about Enphase a lot. I think we should. What did you call this show? The start of a new chapter. Oh, okay. You didn't even talk about what.
Is it better now? It's cool.
Let me see. I'll bring your video back.
Bro, what the fuck is going on? Now
It's
I'm
a
black
weird,
and white. Like, what is
it's
going
a weird delay. Now you look like you're in. Now you look like you're in a flashback right now. And I can hear myself coming out of your speakers.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Tesla stuff.
Okay, let's do that.
Bro, what is this? This is like ridiculous. This is crazy. Okay,
yeah, what's up with your Wi-Fi, dude? We got to listen. Take some of that monetization money and upgrade to the fastest internet.
Bro, I have the fastest internet in this whole neighborhood. Like, I'm good. The problem is it's just stupid. That's the issue. Look at it now. Look at the video now.
Bro, what the hell is going on? You're in like a confession booth in the Catholic Church now.
All right. Well, if everything's okay now, this is the first official video on the channel. We'll be here full time. I don't think you guys can do super chats yet, but I think in a couple days it should be approved. And every single super chat, at least for the next month, is going into the Vegas fund. So we'll see.
Right. So anything you spend us now, we're going to put it all on black and lose it in about 5 minutes. Or Amit's going to lose it in 5 minutes. What games do you play? What are you playing?
Just blackjack. That's my
blackjack. All right, yo. But you and me are going to play Spanish 21. You're going to love it. It's a little spin on blackjack.
Damn, there is a delay. I just listened to it right now, bro.
It's a massive delay. I can even hear myself when I say something. I can hear it come out like 3 seconds later, and then you respond. It's like when people are on a call with someone far away on the news, and they ask someone a question, and they're waiting like 10 seconds for it to arrive.
All right, so you get into the Tesla price cuts. I'm gonna leave and come back. I should restart the whole thing. So you can start talking about that. I'll be there in like 2 minutes.
Bye, Amit. Finally, guys, I have you guys all to myself. My plan worked. I ruined his internet. He doesn't even know. I hacked into his shit and ruined his internet. How is everybody? How's everybody's weekend? Thank you guys for coming to the first official episode, or the first episode officially on our new channel. I guess you guys can tell I just woke up a little bit ago. We got a lot to talk about today. How many of y'all in the chat are Tesla investors? Let's talk about that new Model 3. This is already, it seems like it's polarizing. And the fact that the mainstream media is basically ignoring it and focusing on the price cuts tells me that's a really, really good thing. Let me try to bring up an article here or a video. Oh, I can't share anything because Amit's not here. Damn it. Damn it. The Carplos Chunkies. That's right. So Tesla announced the new Model 3 this weekend. It will retail for about the same cost. They were able to get, I'm going to bring up Sawyer Merritt's tweet or post now, I guess it is, because that seemed to have the most pertinent information regarding Tesla's my second position. We don't have enough shares. Exactly. We don't have enough shares. Roast the other junkies. Oh man, you know there was something I wanted to take to task Vitaly. I don't think he's going to come. I don't think he's going to come on today. But I did want to hit him on something, and he's not here. Damn it. We'll get this to work better, guys. I promise. We're going to get this to work better. So I can't seem to share because Amit's not here. But I'm going to read a little bit of Sawyer Merritt's tweet when he announced that Model 3. And then there's another one that he posted about full self-driving. Let's go here. Confirm Tesla's Model 3 ambient light. That was a big thing too. That ambient light, the ambient light that you now see in the vehicles. That seems to be a carryover from Cybertruck So what did he post here? Let's go. Man, he posted a lot. Model 3 interior, whatever. Let's look up the official. Let me go here. Come on. Tesla AI. Here we go. Tesla released high-resolution photos of the new Model 3 on Weibo. Thread below, long press on the video to view in 4K. Damn, man. Damn, dude. Here we go.
I'm back. Is it better?
Yeah. What, talk?
Hello?
Yeah. Now you look and sound fine. What happened?
I don't know, bro. I just restarted it. That's so
Oh,
stupid.
that's probably what it was. Your computer was all sluggish.
But I restarted it before it
Mhm.
fucked up. So it's just, I guess I needed 2 restarts.
You know what? It could be StreamYard too, because we've been having a couple issues with StreamYard, and it's not been
They better get
Hasn't
me the
been the-
CEO on the phone, bro.
hasn't been the best lately.
All right. So a core thing is Tesla price cuts. Let me share the photo that's like been going around on Twitter.
There's the price cuts that coincided with the new Model 3, and I was saying before you got on that Carlos, please convince my wife that the Model 3 is still worth it. She doesn't want it if it's not an SUV. I mean, for that reason, that's what the Model Y is for. That's the main reason why we got the Model Y over the Model 3. They're roughly the same price, roughly the same range, roughly the same everything. It's literally the same skateboard, but it's just a slightly bigger body. And personally, like, I don't see a reason why you would need just a Model 3. If you can afford a Model 3, you'll find more utility for a Model Y anyway.
Sorry for being late, guys.
What's up,
Dude,
man?
I've been living this kind of like a double life like the last like week. Basically,
Secret agent, man.
I had to fly to New York for like a week for work,
I
and
saw that.
then and then I came back. Then my dad is going to India for like the next 6 months to like he's got a wedding, plus we have all this, like investments and everything in India. So he's going back. So today he's going next week. So like today was like the last day I could see him. So I actually had to fly from LaGuardia to Nashville and catch a connecting flight to Savannah because my parents live in Savannah, Georgia. And then today my dad dropped me off halfway to Macon, and my wife picked me up from Macon. So it's like a 4.5-hour drive from Atlanta. So I have to figure out a way to create like a portable streaming system
Setup.
because
Your phone.
yeah, because well, no, the quality is so terrible, man. Like I don't feel like doing it. Plus, it's just really bad. So instead, what I'm gonna end up doing is just creating something that I could use to stream. Because even like the next 2 weeks, I'm supposed to go to like this training in Melbourne, and then like me and the wife have
Australia?
something. No, Melbourne, Florida, not
Oh.
Australia. Yeah, so
Down under, mate.
yeah, so I have to go to Melbourne, Florida for some training for like, dude, I'm gonna tell you guys, AI is here. It's live. Like it's around. I know a lot of people think that AI is just like still on the fringes with Chat GPT and whatnot, but I can tell you AI is here. There's already applications being developed around LLMs. A lot of demos are being shown off all over the place. A lot of industries are picking up. And let me tell you, the one company that everyone should be looking at right now is Google. GCP is I can't really talk much about it, but GCP is on like another level of cutting edge when it comes to developing platforms that companies can build their software stacks on for AI, and it's open. Like I said, I'm not going to discuss way too much into it, but Google is by far one of the most underappreciated stocks right now, considering how much development work they're doing on AI and all the infrastructure they have on it, and now all the services that they're providing for AI. So I think a lot of people are looking to Microsoft, which, by the way, Microsoft is doing a similar thing, but Google is just on another level right now, man. So I'd say right now, if anyone here in the chat has not checked out Google Next and looked at their presentation, I'll put the link on the Supercut link on Twitter, on my Twitter after this, and watch it, because I'm telling you, Google Vertex, this other thing called Google Duet, I got to see it. It's fucking cool, dude. It's really worth checking out. And
You could argue that they still have yet to experience their own AI multiple attached to their valuation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even with some of the other companies that have it, maybe it's not as much as it should be. because it's hard to see them as something different, as something other than what they are, which is like a search engine, right? A lot of this stuff kind of goes, it gets dwarfed by that. So I'm sure we'll be talking about that for the next few months.
I think what it was a lot of people thought that with ChatGPT coming around, that Google search, which is their core business that they make most of their money on, would end up taking a nosedive. I was talking to a few people, and basically they're telling me like, no, it's actually the opposite that's happening, where a lot of the stuff that you have, like a lot of people are using Bard, by the way, now, like because Bard's real-time information is a lot more helpful. So, you know, when it comes down to it, and Bard can do like all these citations and actually show you where the data is actually coming from. So it's actually reinforcing Google and actually making Google search even more prevalent among people.
It's sending people Google links.
Yeah. Yep. So I think Google is probably the biggest no-brainer in terms of big tech, you know.
I tried some of it, like some of the sites now, when you do a search, it asks you if you want to try like a beta version of an AI search. I have not had a good experience with them. So
it's been good for me. The beta AI search has not been too bad. Like the little paragraph, it's
like a little paragraph. I mean, you know what? It could be user error. It could be the way that I'm asking my questions are more the way I would search on Google. Like you get good at searching Google, right? You get good at knowing how to type what it is to get what you want, especially when something that you're looking for can have an obvious answer that is not related to what you're searching for. And so you find a way of kind of getting around it by asking a more specific question. It could just be that I have not experimented with enough to understand how to ask it that question. Because I do try sometimes in natural language and I'm not getting the results that I want. So I just go back to a standard Google search.
The other major thing that, like, I was doing a lot of DD on Google, and I put a lot of this stuff on Patreon, but I still have so much more to write on it. But Google right now, even from like a company standpoint, their executive leadership has been somewhat transformed. Like a lot of one of their co-founders is back in the office working with everyone right now. Ruth Porat, she was the CFO. She is now with Google. What is that thing called? The side bets division, which has been really their money pit, and basically to try to optimize it. So they're doing a lot of stuff there. Google is a free cash flow machine at this point. And on top of it, they've got a shit ton of money squared away for buybacks. And when you actually look at the measurements, you know, the thing I sent you guys on WhatsApp, like the comparison between the two companies that we were looking at. And it's like, wait a second, why is this company valued like this and this one valued so low, considering how much more they have in terms of like going forward? So I think like I said, the next year is going to be Google's year. So the same thing that I think happened with Meta, where a lot of people thought TikTok was going to get disrupted. And then once people woke up and said, you know what, TikTok is actually not going to disrupt Meta, and Meta's just growing like crazy and they're operationally realizing a lot of their value, it was just whew. And I think the same thing's going to happen with Google, where a lot of people thought Google search was going to die because the LLMs. It's going to be the exact opposite, where Google's actually going to turn that into its huge monetization standpoint, just like how TikTok Reels, how Meta basically just made TikTok Reels and then monetized the shit out of it and made a shit ton of money. Same thing with Google. So AI was coming for Google. Google played a fucking reverse Uno card, and now they're going to capitalize the shit out of their AI. And they've done a lot of that transformer work, that a lot of that research. So, you know, I would say if people here are interested in a company that is worth looking at, honest to God, go to Google, look at their financials, just type in Google Cloud AI, which is, by the way, is on another level of growth. And yeah, you'll be pleasantly surprised, you know.
Okay. So let's get into Tesla. That's the big news we saw. So Chris, you even texted us in our WhatsApp because you couldn't believe that these were the price cuts. What shocked you about seeing this picture here?
Well, the sheer downsizing of the price. I mean, think about how much money. See, but this chart is really, really bad for Tesla. Okay. If people don't know the price that it was last month and the month before that, you know, you could slowly work people into it. This chart in terms of PR is horrible, because now what you're going to be doing is reinforcing this mechanism with a lot of holdouts. Instead of buying it at this price, they may end up saying, well, you know, they've been lowering the price for the last year, and this is how much they kept lowering it. Why don't I wait another 6 months and see what the price is like, right? So the false expectation of further cuts will keep a lot of people away from buying more. And now Tesla may end up, like I said, if this chart hadn't come out, I think that the slow moving, like I didn't even know that prices were down like this. But the minute I saw this, I was like, wait a second, is this true? Like, is this real? And so when I looked at it, it's obviously real. So now it's really bad. So I think a lot of industries, this has happened where the expectation for further price cuts will keep a lot of people away from buying the cars. And I think maybe they'll have some sales impacts for the next couple of quarters because of this. I mean, they were already going to have sales impacts primarily because of the tighter credit market. But this is bad. But I will say one thing. I think the Model X, if it gets to about 60 and maybe below, I might end up having to just jump in and buy a Model X, man. You know.
So, okay, I just want to jump in here. Okay, I want to share this screen, and then I want to have a comeback to what you just said. So share this screen. This is from the same guy, James Cat. Okay, I want to read this. What's interesting about this chart is that bulls, including myself, underestimated the rate of ASP, average sale price decline, and surely bears underestimated the rate of cost decline. But if you look at the average sale price of the vehicles and compare it to the costs, so in other words, yes, the Model X came down, say, $40,000. But if you look at that over that same period of time, the cost to make the cars has also come down exponentially. So even though, say, the profit margins went from 25% to, say, 18%, they're still making as much or a little bit less than what they were making per vehicle before. Understand? So yes, the price cuts seem crazy, but when you look at them with respect to what it's costing them to produce the vehicles, it's actually not that bad. What they're doing is what they stated in their mission statement, that they want to make the cars affordable. And if you look here at the peak pricing of Tesla, if we look here, if you look at the peak pricing of Tesla, their biggest margins were around 2021 when vehicles cost them, say, $35,000. I don't know which vehicle. This is their average sale price of all their vehicles. Average sale price was about $35,000, and they were selling them upwards of $85,000. So that was unrealistic. They were essentially responding to rates and supply chain issues, supply chain costs. So if you look right now, they're selling, their average sale price of a vehicle is just under $40,000, and they're selling them for about 62. That's across all of their vehicles. They're still making, say, average 20,000 per vehicle. Now, obviously, the Model X and S with higher margins throw that curve off. But when you look at it with respect to cost, it's not the same, because most of the other legacy automakers, when they cut prices, they're already in negative margins. So they're just basically eating bigger losses. So this comes back to when you look at or try to value Tesla as like a standard car company. Yes, these numbers look bad, but that's not the case. And actually, I'll go even further. What you said was a great segue. It's almost like we planned this. This is share this. Share this here. All right. So this is what Gary Black said.
By the way, real quick, Rajan says, congrats on being on the new channel. Thank you, Rajan. We are here officially full time. Go ahead.
So James Cat, the same guy, posted something here. Every time that Tesla proves it can't grow sales without margin, dilutive prices, this is a market reaction. It's time to educate and advertise. So once again, we're having this advertising conversation, and Gary Black responds with, I 100% agree with James. Price cuts are a short-term narcotic that trains potential customers to wait for further price cuts. Advertising works over the long term to educate would-be buyers why they should go buy EVs, drives category growth, and differentiates Tesla from the other EVs out there, builds brand equity. Sad that Tesla management doesn't get this. So I responded with this because I've thought this through, and I've had this conversation before. Here's my comeback to that, to him and to you, Chris. Gary Black, I'll offer you and James Cat an alternative take that I believe is more accurate. You are forgetting that unique to Tesla, the monetization of a customer does not end with the vehicle sale. It's just beginning. Every price cut opens up exponentially more customers that hesitated buying due to affordability. The ultimate effect is that more revenue to the bottom line from more vehicles sold at a slightly lower margin than what would have been from less vehicles at a higher margin. And this can't be understated. It also steals a share from competitors that are desperate to grow market share. The data collected per additional vehicle sold is way more valuable to Tesla long-term, both to train the AI, increase real-world safety and design data and to increase real-world safety and design data for future potential monetization. Not to mention that it puts additional pressure on competitors to lower prices as well when they already have little to no margins, deepening their losses. It allows them greater economies of scale that allows them to drive costs down even further, and it puts another vehicle on the road as a rolling advertisement that can also be monetized via supercharging. Your argument makes sense for every other automaker except Tesla. This, in my opinion, is a calculated kill shot strategy that is setting up the next leg up in the company and the stock price.
I'm in agreement with you to a certain degree, but that doesn't negate the fact that he's right in that this will create a false sense of further price declines and keep a lot of people. So you got to remember the
Look,
market works
you're,
not just
wait,
on, yeah.
but,
No, I mean,
but
your argument is very reasoned. I'm not denying that. And I
but
agree with you. But the problem is consumer psychology plays a heavy role in this kind of in this kind of like segment. So maybe this is the time where Tesla needs to stop cutting prices and get people used to the current price as to what it is. Because if they don't and they further decline prices over the next 6 months, you're setting up a false expectation of constant price declines. And guys like me who are bargain hunters will eventually, and I have this, trust me, I know this is one of my faults, but anytime I see a price cut, you know what I'm waiting for? The next price cut. So
I have another chart. I have another chart to share in response to this.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I share that, what I'll say to that is this: that makes sense, but you have to understand that there are already customers on the sidelines waiting to purchase that can't purchase right now due to affordability. So there's already pent up demand, built up pressure, and Tesla knows what that pent up pressure is. And so what they do is they try to match the prices to the current demand. And so if they see, Elon said something like they have about a 2 week, good solid 2 week data on demand. If they see any changes in demand, then they adjust the prices dynamically to match what they believe the current demand is. And that leads me to my second response to that same thread. Here a minute, let's share this, because Gary responded to me, and Gary said, except the economics of that model doesn't apply to cars. This is more like Apple, which brings out cheaper models to drive Apple usage to the masses. But Apple rarely cuts prices on its high-end models. Tesla should use the same strategy and focus on 25K, 35K EV rather than cutting prices at the high end.
I agree.
Cuts unequivocally do not open up Tesla to exponentially more customers. An FSD at 12K does not seem a value proposition to customers that customers are willing to pay for. Resale with and without FSD. As we've seen this year, the elasticity of demand so far to the price cut has been extremely low. Wall Street forward year 23 forecasts volumes estimates are lower than where they started at the year than where they started the year before the price cuts. And forward year 23 Tesla EPS estimates are now 37% lower. So here's what my response. And I said to him, it's not an apples to apples comparison, no pun intended, because the ASP of Tesla is vastly greater than an iPhone and far more complex. Which, by the way, I'll also add, it's funny how when it's convenient for analysts, they compare Tesla to a tech company like Apple, but then most of the rest of the time they'll compare them to a traditional car company. Wall Street needs to make up its mind, which is the one that they're valuing.
Well, I think the way that they're trying to frame it is not necessarily a tech company, but just a premium product. Like, to be honest, whenever I look at a Tesla, especially a Model X, I'm thinking that this is the high-end luxury premium segment, right? I'm not thinking, hey, this is the everyday man's car, right?
But
So even
Tesla doesn't market their vehicles that way. They never said that they're luxury vehicles. The luxury vehicles are the luxury vehicles are the Lucids. Those are the vehicles that are $100,000 and $150,000. They market themselves as a premium brand, but it's not a luxury brand. And there's a difference because remember, their ultimate goal is to get as many vehicles on the road as possible. So having a vehicle that's overly luxurious or having a vehicle with a bunch of bells and whistles that add to the weight and lower efficiency is not. I
would just say I would say better to keep Model S and Model Y in a higher category with higher average selling prices. Produce less. Look at Ferrari. Ferrari makes a shit ton of money, and they don't have to price cut. They don't have to say, you know what, we want to gain more market share. Yeah, I get it.
But they're not trying. The thing is, they're not trying to be Ferrari. And when they get Cybertruck ramped, they will have a supercar. That's what the Roadster is. So the Roadster is for that market. It's a very low margin vehicle that's really meant to develop technology that will eventually trickle down.
You mean high margin, right? High margin vehicle.
It's a high margin,
low volume,
high margin, low volume vehicle that is really more to test new technology that you can then trickle down into the rest of the lineup.
See, I'll just say, as a prospective buyer, my goal probably next year was to buy a Model Y. Like, I could afford a Model Y. It's not hard. It's a good car. I test drove it. Car. But the X was a reach for me when I first saw it. Now I feel like, wait a second, I'm right in between. I could probably, if Tesla just lowered a little bit more price, I could probably do a Model X and skip the Y completely. So you see, the thing, that's how psychology will
Look,
impact a lot of people.
I
Where a lot
hear
of
you.
people are in the and the thing is, Model Y sales will suffer because maybe people are waiting for the X to come out at a cheaper price
Well,
and saying,
bring up
I'd rather just go for that one.
bring up Kevin Smith's comment at
Yeah.
424. This is basically what I'm trying to say. Waiting on Tesla price cuts means you're going to buy a Tesla. It's just a matter of when. And that's what
Yeah.
Tesla is doing. They're matching the price to the pent-up demand that's already there. And this brings me to my next response. So what I said is the price cuts should be an indication of how confident Tesla is that they're closer to solving FSD than people think. Remember, to Tesla, every vehicle that's on the road now will be further monetized with things like FSD in the future. So they will compress their own margins to get that vehicle on the road, pressure other OEMs who are already losing money, steal a sale from them to continue to grow market share, and then at some point turn on the FSD button and reap software margins on upsells. So my point is here. The price cut should be an indication of how confident Tesla is that they're closer to solving FSD than people think and attempting to get as many potential customers for that product out there as possible. Wall Street estimates are just that. They're estimates. Tesla can and has beaten estimates. Model Y is the best-selling car even in this high-rate environment. They are matching price to macro. Now, if you look at this macro chart, this was a slide in a presentation that ARK invested. And if you just look, this is why every subsequent lower, a fractional lowering of prices in the vehicle opens up an exponential amount of customers. So this is the cost curve and the amount of addressable market. So here on the bottom is the price of the vehicle, and on the left side is the percentage of market that's available to you at that price point. So if you see at $60,000, you have access to about 5% of the market. If you drop down to $50,000, it goes up to about 8%. But you go to 40, so from 60 to 40, you now have 20% of the market. Between $40,000 and $20,000 is a majority of customers. So if you get to $30,000, ASP of $30,000, you go. Once you get below 40, you go from 20% market share. If you can get to 20, you now have 90% of the market. This is where Tesla wants to be. And if you're selling vehicles at 4 or 5% margin less, but you're selling 10 times as many vehicles, the overall revenue to the bottom line is better. And again, that is not where the sale is going to end. They fully expect to further monetize those customers via things like FSD. And this is another point that I wanted to bring up. Let me see if I've got it here.
I mean, I like that they're doing a Model 3 refresh. I think they need to do that because otherwise what happens is a lot of the stuff they produce becomes very stale, So yeah, I agree.
You know what? It works both ways because if you have a 2019 or to 2020 or 2021 Model 3, you still feel like you're on par. Your car doesn't feel old. This is something that happened with me when I was driving like my Mercedes or whatnot. They'd come out with a new model next year and suddenly your car just felt old and everyone could see it. It was old. You had the different bumper, different body styling, things that just weren't available, and now your car looks a little bit old. Here's another good point. This is a great point. So Sawyer Merritt posted this. Breaking: Tesla no longer lists auto steer on city streets as a coming soon feature. So for the last 4 years, when you went to buy full self-driving, what you saw was it to say full self-driving, and it would give you the list of the basic functionality that it has. And then at the bottom, there'd be an asterisk that would say auto steer on city streets coming soon. Now that's been removed. And he's making a point that I agree that this might seem like a small change, but it's a big one. It indicates that Tesla is getting very confident in FSD's capabilities. Now, me personally, I think that what they could do is a combination. Maybe they don't have to lower the prices as much, which I'm totally fine with as long as they sell more units. But I think lowering the price of FSD would be a game changer. If they lowered the price of FSD to say $5,000, or instead of making it a one-time payment, they let you pay it off over months, like finance it essentially at 0% for a few months, say $200 a month, a subscription service that you could then buy it outright. If they did something like that, I think the take rate would be way, way, way higher.
The problem with, and this is just my interpretation with FSD, is that I think it's a gimmick. I'll be honest. I think it's a gimmick. I don't think it's necessarily as useful as a lot of, I mean, I'm not saying it's not useful.
Bro, what's so funny about this is I was on a 2-hour Twitter Spaces with Arnie just a couple hours ago, and literally we both had this discussion, which was just like, why are we trying to solve self-driving cars as like the biggest thing in the world when at the end of the day it's just gonna, be
I mean, I'll be honest. The most FSD that I will use if I'm going on a long drive, I'll just put it on FSD and then, you know, watch Netflix or something if I'm allowed to. I don't know if I'm not. I'm allowed to. I don't have a
that's, I
Tesla.
mean, but do you understand
Yeah.
how game changing that is?
No, I agree. But the thing is, I don't travel long distance a lot, so I don't really need FSD. Like FSD is not the reason why I would buy a Tesla. Like I saw a post right with a poll that says, "What's the main reason why you would buy a Tesla? Is it an FSD? Is it the supercharging? Is it, you know, the mega packs?" To me, it's supercharging. Like I want to have the confidence of knowing that anywhere I drive, I will be able to charge my car without any issues. Like there's a lot of range anxiety that people still have because, bro, you don't even know how many times people post videos about broken chargers where they think that they're going to get a good charging experience. I'm talking about non-Tesla ones, and it's completely shit. I think people are more concerned about having a good amount of superchargers around and you being able to actually practically use this car to get around places rather than a FSD, which technically speaking, you're not even technically allowed to really use in most city streets to the full advantage, right?
Okay, but here's why. It's like with any new technology, like you have an LLM and you're like, wow, you can go talk to this chatbot, whatever. It takes, you have to think about the second, third, and fourth generation of use case. So right now you're thinking, why do I need FSD? Because FSD is just going to drive me around on a long trip. I'm going to stop and I'm going to use Netflix. But you're not thinking about some of the other things that you can do with FSD. When you have FSD, I'm going to give you use cases. I'm going to give you a use case that you might not be considering. So right now, you at home, you're at work, you can summon the car to come pick you up because it can drive itself. You can send the car to go pick someone up. If you if your parents are old and aging,
but let me just stop you for 2 seconds. Let me just ask. Are you allowed to do that right now?
No, not now. But when FSD is solved,
when it is actually solved and when it's allowed, then I will definitely pay the $12,000 to get it. But go ahead. Sorry.
But what I'm saying is, okay, you have to look at it this way. It's a call option. If you purchase it now at $12,000, when they unlock that capability, the price could go up. They could drop the prices of the cars to $20,000 and jack up the price to 30 grand for FSD. Why? Because the utility increased immensely overnight. Somebody, okay, for example,
no one's paying 30 grand, bro. You got to chill with that.
I'll tell you why. The
average person's not paying 30.
If right now in Brooklyn, this was like back in the day, there was guys that had these car services, and they would have a bunch of guys in their fleet, and they would send people out to do really short local trips. If you knew that you could get 3 or 4 Teslas and send them out all day to do car service rides for you, like you own all the Teslas and you could have them go do car service rides for you, and it was legal and they were safe.
Yeah, but that's not the bull case. Bull case is not a bunch of Tesla Uber mafia guys. The bull case is everyone in the world buys FSD because it changes. Like it's gonna be at this 10 to 15,000.
What I'm saying is, but the thing is, they could, and he said that. He said literally they expect FSD to give you 5 times the value of the vehicle. And if you do the math on it, there's guys that have done the math on what a single Tesla Model 3 standard range could bring in per month if it was a robotaxi, comparing it to what Uber charges for their prices. It's something like 30 grand a month that car could make you.
Dude, my biggest thing is I was on the Twitter Spaces. Vince is bullish. He's a big Tesla bull. I asked him the same question I asked you 5 months ago. You letting your daughter get in that car? Letting your mom? He said, nope. He said, I need more stats. I'm like, no, we are the guinea pigs. We are the generation that are going to be the stats for Elon.
Of course.
If you wait for the stats, you're never going to buy the thing.
But
I think there's still going to be a lot of anxiety.
There are plenty of people that will gladly
be the guinea pig and potentially die for Elon Musk. Be my guest. It's not me or Chris.
Amit, there's people doing that in San Francisco right now with Cruise.
Yeah, and it's not working out very well.
It's not working out.
No, depends on who you talk to. You talk to Dan O'Dowd, and it's like the best thing in the world. It is working out. There haven't been any deaths. It's not like there have been deaths or any major accidents. The car fucks up.
Yeah,
it stops in the middle of the intersection. It stops in the middle of the intersection. They had a cell phone issue where all of the Cruise cars went down. But this is with any of this new technology, there's going to be those super early adopters that are
going to be lab rats,
and they're going right. The other thing too is there was a guy who posted recently that
you're such an asshole, bro.
No, the comment. I'm looking at the comment.
Lab rat.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah,
it's gonna be lab rat, bro. Like that's a big. Like, look, Kevin says I trust the car as much as I trust the person. Again, if I have a daughter and she's coming home from the airport, I trust an Uber driver that's done 5,000 drives and has a 5-star rating way more than I trust her being a guinea pig for Elon's FSD.
But what you're doing is what you're doing is you're looking at the most extreme case possible, and using that as the
What's
base.
extremes? A daughter coming home from an airport? How is that?
That is it, because that, first of all, it's the most prized possession in the world.
Okay, my mother.
Hold on.
Well, what's the point of FSD?
Let me finish
That's
my
not
point.
useful for like
let Carlos finish.
Let me
Let
finish
Carlos
my
finish,
point.
yeah.
You are using the most extreme case of that possible and trying to make it seem like all trips are like that. What you're talking about is a very outlier case. My daughter coming back from the hospital.
Carlos, you're the one who said calling a Uber for your elderly parents like 5 minutes ago. How is this an extreme?
Because I'm not saying taking her to a freaking airport. That's a 20-mile.
Okay,
ride.
let's just say it's a 20-minute drive from Walmart.
I want to finish my point. I'm gonna finish my point. Would I put my mom or myself? Would I take a driverless car from here to the supermarket? That's 3 or 4 miles away. Yes, I would. Absolutely. For a shorter trip, yes, I would. Would I go around? Would I drive around? Yes, I would drive the car in any condition where I wasn't worried about the car necessarily creating the accident, where I'm just as worried about other drivers, like in my local neighborhood. I got bumped doing 6 miles an hour. We were driving home I was with my daughter in the car, and we were driving home from her daycare, and I got rear-ended by a college kid who wasn't paying attention, rear-ended us, and ended up whatever. We ended up fixing the car, but that happens. But I would put myself at risk in a driverless car for a short day-to-day trip. On a longer trip like to an airport, no, I wouldn't. But that takes time. There's people that would, and the data will come out on that. And once Tesla can show that the vehicles are safer by an exponential order than a human driver, the data is the data. Like even right now, somebody posted that they had been using FSD. Like they also have Tesla insurance. That's the other part of this. When you pair a car that has FSD with Tesla insurance, it's monitoring your driving, and the more that you use FSD, the lower your price goes. So this guy used FSD predominantly for this entire month. His insurance premium went down $50. So $50 over the month, he saved $1,200 a year. It was a substantial amount that he had saved. I was looking for the tweet or the post, but I couldn't find it.
You know what FSD needs? FSD needs this thing called the elephant moment. Do you guys know the St. Louis, Mississippi bridges? Like, have you ever been to St. Louis? Like,
no. I don't think I've ever been to St. Louis.
Missouri, okay, no. so there's this. At the time, this is like when Andrew Carnegie was working on building this bridge across the Mississippi River, right? And I think it's in St. Louis. I'm pretty sure it's St. Louis. But basically, it was the longest bridge at the time, and it was made of steel. No one would cross it because everyone was afraid, like, dude, if they try to cross it, it might, collapse and they would die. So in order to prove that it was safe, Andrew Carnegie did this like test, like this just giant grand showing where he said, and at the time it was a popular belief that if an elephant will not cross something, if it's like rickety, so he actually got an elephant to cross the bridge, and that's what gave people confidence to actually use the bridge. So maybe this is the one thing that Elon needs to not put an elephant in a Tesla and drive it around, but basically have this moment.
No, you're right.
But have this moment where
what they need to do is they need to create a test, just like we have a test to become a driver, right? You sit with an instructor and they ask you to do various things: K turns, 3-point turns, park the car, left turns, unprotected lefts, right, stop signs, red lights, all this stuff. They need to do the same thing. There should be an AI vehicle test where it's very difficult for a human to complete it, but the car can do that. The car can do it. Like, have you seen the test that police have to do on the motorcycles in order to be able to ride a motorcycle? I'm gonna find this thing. You got to see this thing.
As long as it doesn't give us a strike on the channel.
No. It's just a quick video.
This was the story, the Mississippi Railroad Bridge, and basically the elephant. So basically, the elephant stepped lively and never hesitated, and the people followed. So basically, and
that was the end of it, right?
Yeah, that's the thing with confidence, right? Where the minute it becomes something that like other people do, it becomes something that, it's like, okay, yeah, I trust it now. So maybe it's something like Elon puts his own kid in a Tesla and has it drive across
send it to Mark Zuckerberg's house, and he challenges Mark's kids to a fight.
No, but do you guys think Elon would do that? Do you think he would put X in the car?
Hell no.
So if Elon's not willing to do that, why are any of us willing to be the guinea pig?
That's a good point.
My question.
That's a good point. I mean, it's not an
elephant.
I think
Elon might be crazy enough to do it, by the way. I think Elon might be crazy enough to do it.
Here, share this. This is what a police officer has to be able to, this course that a police officer has to be able to complete in order to be licensed to ride. New York knows, there's an area called Floyd Bennett Field. It used to be an
Yeah.
They used to launch planes in an airfield.
In
And
Brooklyn. I know
it
it's
was,
in Brooklyn and
yeah, it's in
near
Brooklyn.
Sheepshead Bay.
Near Sheepshead Bay. Yeah, exactly. Near Sheepshead Bay. And it was open to the public several years ago when we were a kid. Like you could just drive up and go there.
Yeah.
So it was like whenever it would rain, we would go there and just splash through the most enormous puddles you ever saw. When it snowed, you'd go there and have a lot of fun. And one day I went there with a buddy of mine who had a Buick Regal, a 78 Regal, and it was kind of souped up. And we got there and we saw all these cones there. And my buddy was like, oh shit, this looks like a lot of fun. And he started driving around. He was just acting absolutely reckless. And he was knocking down some of the cones, driving around absolutely reckless. And then a police helicopter came out and was like, warning, you are on a police training course. Get out of there now. He ended up going onto that same course, but it wasn't for bikes. It was where they would train cops on how to do like the pit maneuver and stuff. And he ended up accidentally going on the police.
Okay,
course.
so here's the question that I think everyone's waiting for. At current price of Tesla, what is it, like 250? Would you buy Tesla?
Yeah. I'm telling you, this is, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat have this. I only have so much liquidity at a time when the markets are down. And this is like really deciding on where to put it. I'm waiting for a massive capitulation in Bitcoin over the next couple of weeks that I still feel like for me right now, the best thing to do is to divert all available cash to a Bitcoin over the next couple of weeks. We don't have to talk about that because it's maybe not something that we talk about on the channel, but that's the only reason why I have not been buying Tesla hand over fist right now. And if prices stay this way, the other reason why is because I do believe that Q3 is not going to be as good for Tesla. They've already said that they've already had lower guidance because they are shutting down a bunch of the factories for a few weeks for upgrades at the factory. So they're not going to sell as many units. And no matter what the reason is, Wall Street is going to punish them for it. So we might see low 200s. We might even see below 200. And so I feel like I have a little more time on Tesla, but yeah. Otherwise, if I had the available cash, absolutely I would.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Me too. I'm in the same boat. I told my target on Tesla, believe it or not, is a lot more bearish than you guys. It's basically back to the 150s, only because my theory, which is centered around on the tighter credit market, is going to, in my opinion, something that Tesla needs to worry about. In which case, I think right now the fact that they're having to lower the fact that they're having to lower prices is like, to me, it's a confirmation that my theory is actually happening. Because if they could move unit volume, they wouldn't cut prices. Like, it's not a charity.
But I think that statement is inherently false. You're saying that they had to cut prices. They don't have to cut prices.
No, I think Chris is right just on an interest rate level. Like if the average car is $733 a month, and that's not Tesla.
But here's the thing.
Interest rates are just way too high.
Wait. But if we're comparing them to other automakers, if it's not exclusive to Tesla, then that is an industry response. I agree. Right. So if
I'm not saying I would go and buy GM or Ford. I'm just saying right now, I think the auto market itself is going to have a tough year, because the credit markets are very tight. Like, look at Ally Financial right now. Look at Ally's credit. Like, trust me, right now, delinquencies are starting to rise. So that means that a lot of these credit agencies are going to start pulling their credit back. Right. So they are not going to try to risk taking on a lot of additional leverage, especially when the borrowing cost for them is excessively high and the margin that they're going to be able to get is low. So at this point, Tesla is lowering prices because demand is precipitously dropping off, and they're having to do that because they have all this additional capacity that they built out over the last 5 years. And the last thing you want to do is idle production, because that will definitely send it way below 100. So instead of idling,
why?
Imagine right now Tesla says, hey, we're cutting back production by 30% to meet demand. What do you think happens to Tesla stock? Because it's a growth stock.
The same thing that happened to Ford. When Ford had lower guidance, or GM. I mean, GM said by 2025 they will overtake Tesla, and I'm wondering if the mainstream media is gonna hold them to that. This is the other thing too, is like a lot of what you see on the news, a lot of what's holding Tesla back, even though you feel it's a very rich valuation, a lot of what's holding it back from what I think the fair overvalued value of the company would be is a lot of the mainstream media. They announced a brand new model, a refreshed model of the Model 3 for the first time in years, and the mainstream media had almost nothing to say about it. There was one thing that I saw where they mentioned it after a 10-minute segment on price cuts, and I think it's worth looking at what this new Model 3 has to offer, because it's
to summarize, Chris, you think the price cuts is a reflection of demand, which is why the price could theoretically go back to the 150s, but long term you think it's a good idea, because if FSD is the bull case, they have to have as many cars out there as possible.
Yeah, I think gaining as much market share as possible early on puts people into the Tesla ecosystem, which is the long-term play.
Which is
But
what
the problem
Apple,
is,
which is
yeah.
what Apple did very effectively. And Apple,
No,
and,
no, no,
and
no, no,
Apple,
no, no, no. Apple, dude, Apple did never in the history of Apple ever say, you know what, demand is dropping off. Let's cut prices. Apple's never
Apple,
done that.
hold
As
on,
far
no,
as I know, Apple's never cut prices.
Apple has done. Listen, when
They've done it for the previous model, Carlos, not the
no.
existing iPhone.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen. When Steve Jobs announced the original iPad, it was $999. And he got a bunch of shit for that. People were like, no one's going to pay $1,000 for basically a big iPhone. Not understanding that now we understand what the iPad use case is and how it's different from an iPhone. But at the time, it was like, why am I going to pay $1,000? And nobody wanted to pay $1,000 for a mobile device, period, right? Now we're paying $1,500 for an iPhone. Nobody thinks twice. But when he announced it, it was $999. And then he said available in 6 months. When it launched, 6 months later, it retailed at $599. And people were like, great. Then they shell out the $599 for it. So
but that's
he got
because
the price 50%. He got the price 50%.
no, so we have to. I'm gonna have to just double check on those numbers.
I have a link. I have a link.
The reason why I think that happened, and this is something that I thought I knew, but I could be wrong, is that the way that it was presented in the media was that this was going to be a very expensive thing. This was going to be $999, and when it came out to be only $599, people were relieved. And so that perception,
psychology.
Right. So it was reverse psychology, is saying, oh, look, you're actually getting a good price for it because you already planted the idea that the price of this thing is going. Like right now, if I said, oh, the Tesla car is going to come out and it's $100,000 car, but when it comes out, it's only 50, you're like, oh, wow, I'm getting such a great deal. Well, that's what happened with the iPad, where the perception. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Some people believe that he did that on purpose, knowing that he wanted to, because if he had announced it was going to be $599 the day that he announced that, people would bitch about that price.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
They might do that with the Vision Pro. They might
cut the price. It could come out at $29.99. All of a sudden, you get rid of the 3 in the front, and the floodgates open, and they sell every single model. And have
because the perception is that it's going to be 3,000.
Right.
But no. I think there was a difference at the time. I think when I don't think the public pricing on it was $999. I think the perception was $999.
I'm looking at it right now. He announced it at $999, and then after 6 months of criticism, it seemed like Apple caved and sold it for $599 or whatever it was.
But the original price was supposed to be $599 from the get-go.
Exactly. So it was a bit of this like market psychology, playing the psychology to make people believe that it was worth $1,000 and that you were getting a deal. And that's the same thing that Tesla is doing. They had now, you have to understand, when the prices were high, when Tesla prices on their vehicles were high, they increased the price of the vehicle to keep their margins. Tesla has already done what the street wants them to do now. But they did it when they were forced to because of increased supply chain issues. And mind you, this was in a 2% rate environment, right? So they increased the prices when the rates were low, and you saw it on the chart that I showed you. Their highest margins were when rates were still low, and it was actually very cheap for them to produce the vehicles. So overall, across their fleet, it was like $50,000 or $40,000 of profit, average sale price across all the vehicles. So they've already done that. And what we're seeing right now is a bit of returning to the mean. We're returning to the price that they want their vehicles to be. And had we not have had a pandemic, which forced them to shut down and forced them to close their factories and had made them had supply chain issues and had people hold back and restrict purchasing, they wouldn't have done any of those things. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, at this point, you know what? We've beat the Tesla conversation to death. We would seem to always diverse back into. Let's talk. Yeah,
we haven't actually talked about Tesla for a while.
Yeah.
Let's end on this one. We got 10 minutes left. Enphase, Chris.
No, I'm not gonna. Let's skip over Enphase. Okay, we can talk about that one.
I do have one thing about Enphase, and I posted it in the. I do have one thing, man. It's like Enphase is a very strange company for me right now. I'd say the bull case for me was a lot clearer 6 months or a year ago.
Are you saying Chris got in your head and he's making you reconsider your Enphase investment?
No. I don't.
He did that with me with Palantir, but I stayed strong.
Dance
did
puppets.
That with me. He did that with me. You can't let him get to you.
Huh?
Because he'll sound smart. He'll sound very smart. So far, Palantir is held up, though. If Palantir goes back to 9, he's fucking a genius. But
it is going back to 9. Me and Morgan Stanley got the same numbers rolling, brah.
No. What this is this. Okay, this makes me, and I posted this, and some people were commenting that they didn't even realize that this was a thing. Here's something. Okay, look at this. Okay, this is ADT, the home alarm company. Okay, the home alarm company. They do solar. Okay, ADT does solar, and I posted this on X. We can go through it a bit, but here, installing since 2007, 25-year warranties. As soon as I saw that, I knew that they were using Enphase products because they're the only ones that offer Enphase.
Are they? Are they?
Yeah. Yeah. This was here. I'll show you the post.
That's cool. I have ADT at home, so I relate to the brand.
Huh?
I relate to the brand. My mom got ADT like 7
You have
months
ADT
ago,
at home, right? So now when ADT comes and offers you, you already have ADT. I'm assuming you're already happy with it. When they come and offer you, and
Carlos, here's a question: Are you a bull looking for a bull case, or is this just something that just popped up? Because I think no, I have this I have this problem too. I'm not calling you. I'm just saying I have this thing where I become bullish on a company, and all I do is research bullish stuff about it, and I'm like, yeah, man, I think it's a great investment.
I'll tell you,
and,
I'll tell you how I got to this. Because I was actually researching my 10th man. I was 10th manning myself, and I was researching the bear case. So real quick, let's just go through this. So I've been saying this for a while that the installer network is Enphase's moat. ADT Solar uses Enphase microinverters and batteries. Here it is, Amit. You see, 25-year Enphase microinverter warranty. So they used Enphase solar and batteries. Why? Simple. Reliability, that 25-year warranty, and unmatched customer service. Can't stress enough how good this partnership is. And there's a picture of their battery system, and it's an Enphase thing on the wall. How many clients does ADT have? They have 6 million customers that are paying them $35 a month for a home alarm system. And Amit's one of them. And this is, again, why I say Enphase does not need to advertise to customers directly, that the installers are their customers. And so if you just had 1% of these customers purchase an Enphase system, what does that do to
600,000, right? Or 60,000?
Right. 60,000. So that's 60,000 installs. Just 1% of them do that. And these are customers that are paying $35 a month and paid upwards of $8,000 or $10,000 for an alarm system. Okay. And they're paying a monthly fee. And if you just look, this is Enphase at a $17 billion market cap. ADT is at a 5.
Should we buy ADT stock? Is that what you're telling me?
We buy ADT stock as a proxy play. Okay. So that was something that really, this is incredibly bullish thing for Enphase. The reason I got to this is because my electrician, who does all of my work in my house and also installed my car chargers and whatnot, he's been recently looking into getting into solar because more customers are asking him if he can install things like the batteries. So he's looking to go work for a company that's going to install batteries for home system. And he told me about a plan where the government in California, I'm still researching the exact plan, but they give away these systems. So check out this company. This is a direct competitor to Enphase. This is a company called Blue Eddy.
The speaker? The mic?
That's not Yeti. That's Yeti.
Bro, the microphone's making Enphase?
This is they're essentially a power company, like a portable power company. But if you look at their shop, I started looking around. You look at the shop, they sell solar panels here. Can you see this? Okay. Yeah,
I saw this. The Anchor is like this too. I have an Anchor battery backup. Like one of these portable ones for camping.
Now, for some reason, I think they've worked out a deal with California where they will offer these to customers either as severely reduced or even free. Now, if you look at their battery backup systems, where is it? Home battery backup. All right, so here's their home battery backup systems. So $10,000 for this battery.
Damn.
$10,000 for this battery, starting at $357 a month. So $400. But the thing is, these batteries you can charge because California has time of use, meaning that you pay different prices for electricity throughout the day. You could buy energy, or you could have the system charge the battery during a time when it's cheaper, and then send it back to the grid at a time when it's more expensive because you get the same benefits of the energy. So
use it, right?
Or use it yourself at night, right? Basically save on your electric bill. So how many kilowatt hours is this thing? 9,000 kilowatt hours, 9,000 up to 9,000 watts. How big is the system? Expandable capacity, 9 to 19,000 kilowatts. So that's actually not bad, and it's on par. But that actually got me thinking, man. This could be a serious competitor, man. I have to research into them more. But look what it says here: launching on September 15th, up to $3,000 off. So they're gonna qualify for the incentive. But there it is. This is and look, they've got solar on them, solar on this thing here. But I've seen installs of these where they don't have any solar. So this thing could be something that you just have as part of your house. And California is making more of the houses now have to have some kind of battery and solar backup on every new construction.
I can't wait to get RVs that are completely electric RVs that I can just put some solar panels on the damn things, right?
Wow.
Charge them or charge them at a public charging station
Yeah.
and just travel the world, man, or travel around the
You
US. Like,
will
I
listen.
would love to do that, dude. Me and I'll tell you, I could work from anywhere, hook a Starlink up
A
to that
Starlink
bitch.
up and you're
I'm done. I could be parked on a mountain doing work overnight. You know what I mean? I would love that.
The problem
Yeah.
with that is the square. You're limited by square footage. The square foot, the roof of the RV is just not big enough. You would need 2,000-watt solar panels to be able to get you the power. Although I've seen the ones that sort of open out, like on the telescopes in space, how they just sort of open up and fan out, and then it'll close up. I mean, there's a version of that where you could do that, but of the battery, okay, the Cybertruck might have a 200 kilowatt hour battery, or like the Roadster set to have a 200 kilowatt hour battery in a vehicle that will weigh 4,000 or 5,000 pounds. RV, you're gonna need
my thing
Tesla
is
semi.
my
You're better
thing
off
is
getting a Tesla semi. There's guys that are making RV Tesla semis, attaching.
see my
RV
thing
built
is
to
I
it.
don't necessarily need it to drive everywhere. What I would want to do is have an RV with like a wing design, right? Where the
You want to
top
fly
would have
it,
solar
right?
panels, right? Right. And then basically what happens is I would unleash the wings out, and then it would turn into this giant charging, and then it would charge the battery,
Mhm.
and then me and the wife could go camping and go do. She hates camping, by the way. She wants to go glamping, so I'm gonna have to like
Glamping.
figure out how to get that into her system. But dude, I'm telling you, that would be so cool, man, to be able to be parked somewhere on a mountain doing work,
Absorbing electrons. But
What were you gonna say? But before Enphase,
But
last
you were,
thing.
no?
I'm just saying there may be a bull case for Enphase going forward if the rates start to come down precipitously, because one of the things is like the price of solar itself is dropping significantly, like the panel wise. But the one thing that's bad that's happening is, a lot of solar panels manufacturers, they were made in China. We put, they were subsidizing them, whatever. So now we ended up saying, no, we put restrictions on China from importing panels. We want to make panels here in the US. US panels are way more expensive. So the Chinese, what they would do is they would ship them to Southeast Asia and then ship them here. And this way you still got that nice like price on the solar panels. The problem is they're cutting that off now going forward. So what's going to happen is the price of the panels themselves are going to be a lot more expensive. And so that may also like negatively affect demand. But on top of it, if there is a lot of like more subsidies coming along, like from the federal government side, that could counterbalance it. I would say I'm a little bit lost on where Enphase could go from here, to be honest, but there is a bull case starting to develop. I just think that right now interest rates are the thing that are holding Enphase back. There may be some pent up demand that eventually comes, and the fact that now you have a U.S. solar manufacturer and a U.S. solar microinverter, and it may end up restricting a lot of foreign stuff from coming in. So that may end up being like the niche. The problem is that also limits Enphase around the world, because a lot of times these people will like, I don't know if Enphase even has a presence in China, to be honest with you. The one thing that I am not a big fan of is the markup on solar here in the US. I spoke to a cousin in India, bro. They got solar done, a 12 kilowatt system for $8,000, including Enphase microinverters. By the way, I don't know if you know that, because the panel prices and the installation costs were fucking dirt cheap. $8,000 for a 12 kilowatt system.
That's a majority of the cost, but that's when you purchase in America. I mean, you can't have these guys working for slave labor. You got to pay them because they also have to be licensed electricians. This is where you go to, like, you don't want rinky dink guys installing shit on your roof when it's electricity and when there's electricity involved.
I mean,
you got to be a licensed. You got to be a licensed electrician, and there's certain rates that you have to pay those guys, and everybody pays that. So that's
the thing is the panel costs are what's the major difference. Like here, the US, the panel cost in the US, I think between 75 per kilowatt, not per kilowatt, 75 cents per watt. In India, China, and everywhere else, it's like in the teens. You know that?
Well, think about this: the cost, if they're made in China, think about this: the transportation costs, the tariffs that go along with transporting panels from China to the U.S. versus China to India.
Yeah, no. But dude, even here in the U.S., you could buy, especially if you let unlimited amount of Chinese panels come into the U.S.
Oh yeah, the price will continue to go down. Well, okay. Before I forget, I wanted to just go back to your magic RV home. What you run into with your giant wing fans of RV is the rocket equation. the more panels you have, the more the rocket equation states that if you want to go faster or you want to go further, you need to add more fuel. More fuel means more weight, which means you need more propulsion. Well, now if you have more propulsion, you need more fuel. And so you get into this equation. There's a sweet spot of the weight of the propulsion versus the power that you can output. So if you have an RV that has too many solar panels, now you're carrying around weight that's actually decreasing the range, meaning you're going to need to charge more.
I mean, panels are light now. Panels are so
light.
light now.
They're light, but I mean, I installed them on a patio roof, and when you have the railings and everything that's involved, it gets up there in weight. It could be 400 pounds sitting up there. So yeah, you have 400 pounds. That's very high, and that also creates a issue of tipping, and so there's issues with that. But yes, you're right. There's ways that you could make something like that. You can make something like that work. Probably with a smaller battery where you stop and you charge more. But here's something I want to bring up. Okay, the Enphase bull case is still the same. But for me, it was clearer, say a year or so ago, only because they hadn't become mainstream. You know how like the bull case for a company is a lot clearer to see when it's not so mainstream, when you're the one seeing it and it's like when no one else is really seeing it. As they've become more mainstream and more people are getting involved. The other thing, it's like I said on a previous podcast, for solar penetration to go from 5 to 10% is going to be way harder than it was from 0 to 5%, because now they're threatening more industries. And so there's going to be more FUD, more regulation against them, and more competition in that sense. Enphase's moat to me is the installer network. But as you saw, like I talked to you about, I used to use this program called Final Cut Pro when I was editing, and it was the mainstream program in like the early 2000s to cut on television. Apple messed up one thing. They ceded ground for one year. And a bunch of other companies came in, mostly Adobe Premiere and Avid Media Technologies moved up. And now Apple has never been able to reclaim that market share. And so a concern over the long run is that another company comes out and makes a really sweet deal to some of these installers that then start installing those systems and might not choose Enphase anymore, and then cause them to have to lower prices. And also here, I actually found that this is something I want to share. And I'd love, this might even be its own or a portion of its own episode, but check this out.
Okay.
Before we get
I just want to, yes, yeah. One second. I just preloaded it, Amit, but yeah.
Real quick. I just want to get into this.
Yeah.
Share this real quick, Amit.
Amit, stop sharing this one and go to the next one.
Just share this real quick. Okay. Solar Edge bringing bidirectional EV charging to RE+. So this is Solar Edge's vehicle charger. And what this allows them to do is those vehicles that have vehicle to home, where you can use your car as a backup battery for your home, it's now possible using this new charger. Now, this got me, I started researching it. I haven't been able to find the answer, but this to me, if Solar Edge can do this, we can read a little bit about this here. Solar Edge will also show its new residential Solar Edge home hub and wave inverters at a chart. The next generation inverters include embedded power control systems, allowing more than 50% larger systems to be installed without costly or time-consuming panel upgrades. But the real thing is this new charger will enable solar-powered vehicle-to-home and vehicle-to-grid functionalities. Okay, I want to do more research on what Enphase's take on this. But if Solar Edge can do this with a current installed system, that could be something that Enphase microinverters cannot do. To explain why, Solar Edge has a single inverter. So all of your panels go into this single inverter, and that single inverter has to handle 6,000 watts, right? Because all of these panels are coming in and feeding it, and it needs to convert all of that energy into usable energy for the home. So a microinverter, an Enphase microinverter, they can handle about 600 watts. Like they basically handle the wattage that's necessary for one solar panel to be converted to AC. They don't handle, an Enphase microinverter cannot handle the amount of electricity that's needed for a home. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You following me? So the microinverter is just converting the energy from the panel to AC, which then goes into a collector box, and that's what goes into the home. On a Solar Edge system, all of the DC energy from all your panels goes into a single inverter, which means that inverter needs to be able to handle all of the input power from however large the system is. So by definition, the Solar Edge solar inverter handles a lot more, an exponential amount of energy going through it than a single Enphase microinverter. By design, what that means is that if you could plug your vehicle into this thing, if you could plug your vehicle into this EV charger and it could take the DC energy from your car battery and turn it into AC through this EV charger, and it could send that power to your house, that means that you now have the ability vehicle to grid or vehicle to home built into a solar edge system. For an Enphase system to be able to do that using microinverters, you would need a separate inverter that does that. That's another cost of installation, and it means that it's not turnkey for existing customers. So I need to research whether or not Enphase or how Enphase plans to handle this, or if they are even in this space. Because if not, and that is an inherent capability of a solar edge system, that in and of itself could
Man, we weren't supposed to go this long on Enphase again. We keep becoming the Enphase and Tesla channel.
Big deal, dude. It's a big deal. But if you want to get to the
we just need Enphase to moon so we could stop worrying. Because you know why Vitaly and Carlos are so obsessed with it? Because they have a lot of fucking money in it and it's dropped, right? And so I don't blame them for trying to figure out.
I honestly, no. I was thinking about this. Like, why do I like the companies that I do, or why do I invest in the company? Because I actually like researching the tech. You have to understand.
Yeah, but Carlos, if Enphase was at 200, you wouldn't give this much of a fuck. Now it's questioning your thesis, right?
Absolutely. Like, do you research Palantir more or less?
I agree. I'm not blaming
you.
He
lives on Palantir, bro. Question. He lives on it.
Do you research them more or less depending on what the price is? You're just interested in the company, right?
Yeah, but if Palantir was at $4, I would be searching for every microinverter on every fucking Yeti. I would be looking for everything, trying to make sure that Palantir is not full of shit.
Okay, then by definition, if Palantir was $50, you would be like, no more news, nothing else to. Nothing
I just wouldn't. I wouldn't be that obsessed with it. I'm like, all right, $50. I made a lot of money. That's good too.
Okay, so just to keep things a little bit fun, okay. Today I was, I was looking for Burning Man stuff because it keeps coming up on the news about all these people stuck in the middle of the desert during Burning Man and the rains. If you
real quick, Chris, can you explain this? I don't know why they're stuck in the desert. Why are they?
Because it's in the middle of a lake. It's a dried up lake, and so it rained, and now they have all these cars that are stuck and RVs that are stuck in the middle of this dry lake bed, and they can't get out. It's all muddy and everything else, so they have to wait until the ground solidifies in order to move out again. So that's it. That's the only thing. Now, what's funny is as I was watching this video came across, and let me tell you, this is what you're gonna get at Burning Man.
This is just, you don't even have to, no caveat, dude. Just hit play.
I want to check out Burning Man, and I want to find this lady now. Check this out. Hold on.
I'll read your balls right now.
So you look at the scrotum, and you can tell like someone's future.
Yeah, like reading a palm.
Can we read his balls real quick?
Oh yeah, he had a lot of trauma.
So
no, I need to see the actual balls though, because it's all about veins. No, you got to get both balls. This is just a half reading. You are kind of conjoined in your past and your future. You're running in the same game. You got a lot of stress up top. You need to lube your balls. You kind of have like a one ball game. He's got both balls running on the same momentum. He's just kind of relaxing and going through life the same way. You don't have like a major problem you got to get through. You're living your own life, but you've definitely had aggression because your balls is wrinkled up. Can I read your ball?
So here's a question. If someone came to you and says, hey, I can give you a breakdown of your future, but I have to read your balls, would you allow someone to use your balls as a
only if they can tell me what Palantir's price will be in 2036? Then
seriously, dude, you have to drag it back to Palantir.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, that's the only reason
I over research companies that I'm invested in. You're talking to him about balls, and he takes it right to Alex Karp. What is wrong with you?
Like, let me know what my investment. No, do you guys even believe in psychic hand readings? I don't believe in that shit. Do you believe in it?
No, of course not, man. I believe in numbers.
No, no. I don't believe that. I don't believe that stuff.
Do you think
what I believe is that like astrology hand reading is, how do I explain it? It's a fool's way of explaining something that actually does have merit. Like I believe that, I don't know. And this is something I noticed once I turned 40, is that I keep meeting the same people over and over again. Like I keep meeting the same personality types. And I do believe that you could argue that there are, say, 12 personality types that exist. And you keep meeting different versions and different combinations of the same personality types. And if you get along with a specific person, then maybe you're going to get along with that sort of personality type. And how I could rationalize it on a scientific basis, why it's based on the time of the year that you were born, I think it has more to do with when you were conceived. So if you live on the East Coast, for example, and you are born in January, right, you have a certain lifestyle. Like your birthday comes around at a certain time of the year that is when it's cold outside. You have a different experience than someone who is born in, say, June, who their birthday is during the during the summer,
Summer,
right?
yeah.
Where they have
Yeah.
just big gatherings and big pool parties that would inherently make you more social, right? So I feel like it's more about that, like when
You
you're
know,
born in the
Carlos,
year-
I had never thought of it that way, but dude, that is so fucking true, man. So
When were you
true.
Makes more sense. It makes
I
more
was
sense.
born in September. My birthday's next week.
Okay, so your birthday's next week,
Yeah.
right? Oh,
I
happy
remember because you know what sucks about my birthday?
birthday. Beginning
every-
of school.
Exactly. Beginning of school. I don't know anyone, and everyone's
Yep.
and I never got to like everyone in school. Remember public school?
Yeah.
You got to celebrate with everyone. Oh my god, it's
Yep.
blah, blah, blah's
Pop
birthday,
cake,
right?
all that
I
stuff.
fucking never got that.
What's
Why?
the date
Because
of
it's
your birthday? September what?
September 9th. September 9th. 9
September
9.
9th. Nice.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I never got a fucking real birthday. All the kids would be like, oh, you know, we just know each other. No one really like
No one's
it's
really
like Johnny's
excited.
birthday is in fucking February. Everyone's like, oh my God, it's Johnny's birthday. Yay, cake and juice for everyone. And with Chris's birthday, no one fucking cared.
Yeah.
You know?
When
Fuck that. That's why I'm a
born in-
mean bear.
I'm born in January, and typically when I'm born, typically on my birthday, it was cold. So in the middle of winter in January in New York City, and it was also the beginning of the year, like right when we just got back from school. So everybody came back from like a winter break, and nobody really kind of wanted to be there. And then the real nail in the coffin was in 3rd grade. They were like, oh, there's going to be a space shuttle launch today. And they bring in the TV when they pushed in the TV, and it was like, great. And we watched the freaking Challenger explode on my birthday. We're like, Carlos's birthday
Oh yeah, I
sucked.
remember this.
You
told
know,
me.
and it was like, oh man. So there is something
You
to
see,
that. And now
Look at Amit. Amit's born in October, right before Halloween. He's a character, right?
Right.
There you
why? Because
go.
every
Very
year
true.
around
Very
his
true.
birthday, people were getting excited for Halloween.
Mhm.
And I really think that honestly has more to do with the person because that personality type is reinforced when you're a kid, and that
Yep.
becomes who
Right.
you are as an adult. Like everybody I know with like a July birthday, they're all super extroverts. Everyone's having people born around July 4th, they're extroverts. They have a bunch of people, they do barbecues, they're all having pool parties. But if you're
Yeah.
born in November, you know, it's freezing cold.
So
That's funny.
there's nothing the girl could say to do your ball reading. You would never let them ever.
I'd let her do my ball reading. Why not? I'd let her do my
you'd
ball
let her
reading
do it.
too.
You'd let her do it.
I've
Hell
done too.
yeah. I
I've
told you
done
I'd
too.
find her. I'd be like, hey, listen, tell me my future, bro. Let me know if I'm gonna be a billionaire.
Right.
Let me know, man. You know.
I've done that.
She's gonna
stuff
have to
just
get
see.
she's gonna have to get past a lot of hair. I have a hairy sack.
He's in there like
It's gonna be a lot of It's gonna have to like it's like a Jurassic
Damn,
Park
dude.
down there right now, bro.
Oh,
You gotta-
Shut
you
up,
gotta-
Amit.
You
Bro,
got a
you
man.
Punjabi.
gotta
Amit is Punjabi, bro.
Why
He
you
probably
saying
has way worse
Punjabi?
than
You're
that.
saying it like a white person.
He's
It's
got an afro
Punjabi.
down there.
I could say it like Punjabi, but I'm not going to. Punjabi sounds way more legit, but he's a Punjabi. Look at his arms. Go ahead. Show everyone your arms, Amit.
Yo,
Look at
why do
that.
people think I had a tattoo yesterday? I posted.
Look at
a
that.
picture
Look
of
at
my
that. That's on his nutsack right now. That is on his nutsack, bro.
Right, just show
You
us
know.
your elbow, and that's basically.
Look at Carlos. Hold on, Carlos. You show yours. See, Carlos is clean. His nutsack is probably nice and smooth.
Smooth.
Amit's camera
Like
just
a,
died,
like a
bro.
peach,
You
like
know?
a peach, a little fuzz,
Little fuzzy here, there.
little fuzzy peach.
Nah, bro, you go down there, you gotta like.
Oh no, yeah, you're on there. You're hacking.
you
You got a
know.
machete.
Yeah, my wife is gonna kill me after this for being a little too personal.
100%.
You know,
That's why I'm laughing. I love it. I know how she's gonna react. I love it. This is a great
I
first
mean,
episode on this channel.
at this point, she's like Dora the Explorer down there. You know.
She's all speaking Spanish. Where's the map?
Hey, where's
the map?
Diego? Diego.
What is it? Swiper? No swiping.
Nah,
This was
man,
fun. Thank you.
I trim my balls. I got Manscaped, okay? But maybe this is something that Manscaped, if you want to sponsor us on this channel,
Yo, maybe
you
that's
gotta-
the best sponsor.
That
you
would
got a
be-
couple of hairy Indian folk, you know,
Mm.
let her hook us up, man. Fun times.
All right. Yeah, everyone loved it in the chat. Thank you all for being here. First episode. Yeah, we're gonna be here every day, 7 p.m. Eastern, forever.
Yep.
And
Wait a second. Hold on. Before we go, would you get your ball sack red? Amit?
no. I'm not
What?
doing that
Why
shit.
not?
No, I don't want her to look at my balls and tell me. Like, what is she gonna tell me? The veins popping means you're gonna have it. Like, it's. I don't know. I wouldn't.
They're always super interesting to go. I've done those like psychic things a couple times. Like, granted, I was like hammered when I lived in Carroll Gardens. There was a woman. Wait, there was a
Mhm.
woman that lived like above one of that zombie hut right there on Smith Street. I was hammered, and we went up there. I forgot whatever you paid the lady, and you go and then you do this.
Wait, I remember this place. It's on.
Zombie Hut.
It's like right in front of not PS58, in front of Carroll Park, like
Mhm.
right there on the corner. Yes, I
Yes.
remember her. I
Yeah.
remember her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she was, you know, real like nondescript thing. You'd go up like the stairs, and we were like, oh, whatever. I might even have some video of it too. And so we went there, and she did this like crazy reading on stuff. And because I don't believe in it, what I try to take away from it is like she's actually doing something. Like that person is like in order for them to make it their business, they have to be doing something. It's like the guys on the street that have the 3 cups with the where's the red ball on the street. Those guys actually have really good skill at sleight of hand. And they're just using it to scam you, but they're really good at things like sleight of hand. Well, those people have their own sort of trick that they're good at. They're really good at reading the nonverbal cues of people.
Yeah.
So, TA, there you go. Testicle analysis.
I think we should, when we're in Vegas, find one of these fucking probably not the ball sack reader, because I'm sure she's not really there, but we should find this palm reader and see if Finance Junkies is gonna make it big. That's what I want to know.
Listen,
like,
I would do that. Yeah. I would do that because
let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
Fun to do. It's just fun to do. And if you know, like for example, if you know that the guy on the street is really good at the sleight of hand and he's tricking people, you're watching him to see him do his thing, and you learn like a masterful skill. You're watching this person read you. She's looking at nonverbal cues. She's looking at the things that you don't say. She's also doing a cold reading based on her experience of thousands of people. What a person like this dressed like, what a person of this age group or that nationality. And she's able to, it's like that guy, who was the guy, John Edwards? Remember John Edwards? Like the medium who like spoke to the dead? How he was able to do sort of cold readings on people and get them to tell him stuff that he would then say is a prediction. It's actually quite an amazing skill, even though it's used to scam people.
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to Vegas. It's gonna be fun times. But see, this is the kind of crazy shit I'm looking forward to doing. Going to like a palm reader and just seeing if it's gonna get laid tonight or some shit like that. You know, I'm hoping that hooker that we hired is gonna take his
Here's what we do have to do, which we haven't considered, is the fact that. Okay, we have our plan for Sunday. Anybody who hasn't booked tickets for the Absinthe show at 8 p.m. outside of Caesars, who's coming on the trip, definitely book tickets if you want to come there. But it's the best show you'll see in Vegas. That's what we're doing Sunday. Saturday, even though we were trying to find what to do, we talked about a party bus or stuff like that, but we have to do the most banging Halloween party that we can get into, because that is the Halloween weekend. It's not going to be the weekend after. All of Halloween is going to be celebrated that 20.
It means people are going to be dressed up on the strip too.
Oh yeah, people are gonna be dressed up, but there might be places where like where you can't get in without an outfit. Like you have to have some kind of a costume. So we need to think about that. I already know your costume. You're gonna be a bridesmaid. So we're gonna have you in the crown. Kelly's got the crown. I'm gonna put you in the, whatever, to be married thing, bachelorette, whatever on your thing. I'm gonna have you're gonna have a like hot pink, bra panties over your clothes.
Man,
it's gonna be awesome.
Be so weird, dude. Why do we have to dress them up like a chick, man? That sounds weird.
It's fun. It's fun as hell.
All right, whatever.
What would you dress them up as?
I'd dress him up as Alex Carp and make fun of him the entire weekend.
If anyone, I would do.
Be like, your stock price is down again.
I'm telling you, I'm doing Salt Bay. I think we're gonna rock.
Yo, you're perfect for Salt Bay. You're literally Salt Bay.
You are half dressed for Salt Bay right now.
I'm gonna have a knife. I'm gonna have the salt thing. I'm gonna be sprinkling salt. Oh, it's gonna be.
You got the ponytail, bro.
All right, last question: are you guys taking your wives?
No.
No, my wife's not coming on that trip. Actually, she works on the weekends. It's like I haven't had a weekend with my wife since 2019. She works 6 days a week, and she works like half days on Saturday and Sunday. So no, at the beginning of the new year, she will be leaving her job. In which case, we'll actually be able to have weekend trips. But no, I haven't done anything with her on a weekend in years. So
all right, let me just give one shout out real quick to John, because he tweeted this.
Right, ET face. I'm finding my wife. He's like, yo, I want to bring my wife. That's like bringing sand to the desert.
We got an OG fan, got us on his big screen.
Bam.
50 inches. Yep. That's awesome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone who supported us for the last year and been donating on the awesome. What is that called? On the super chats that Amit has been pretty much been hoarding.
One day.
Look at him. Yep.
Now every super chat we get is going into the Vegas fund. So if you donate anything on this channel, it'll be put on black on the 29th. And so, yeah.
Are we really doing that? Or are we gonna gamble?
No, we're not doing that. We're not
going to gamble. We're not going to gamble. Well, we have to.
I mean, I'm down, bro. I'm a degenerate. I'll do it.
We have to play. We have to play.
Yeah,
we got to play. I think we should give ourselves like a budget, and see what we can do with that money.
Oh, I love it. You got us on a projector. Yeah, if you guys do that, tweet at us. If you're on X us the pictures. We love.
That'd be cool.
That would be great to know. Yeah, everybody, upload a picture of how you're viewing us right now.
Some
Yep.
people are on the toilet. Some people are eating popcorn. Some people
Somebody
are
was on at a supercharger station.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Supercharging. I think it was Myra. I think that was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Anyway, I got a jet. Really great. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks for
Always a pleasure, guys.
170 people.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Even though the market's closed, we'll be there 7 p.m. We'll figure something else
Yep.
to talk about. Thank you, everybody.
I'm probably gonna talk
All right.
about Disney. I'm gonna talk about Disney, baby.
Let's do it.
Later.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.